Welcome back. You are still watching Expressions here on SABC 1. We are talking about scholar transport, and the poll question that we're asking you tonight is simply this: will scholar transport problems ever be solved in South Africa? Now, I am joined by a very special guest. His name is Jacqueline, who is a socialist, but also I think he's also an artist of some sort. Welcome to Expressions. It's good to have you here tonight. I mean, this is such an important conversation that we're having tonight on the show, and especially considering the fact that, you know, deaths are coming from this particular discussion that we're having. And it was interesting, and I want to sort of just maybe highlight on some of the elements and the points that the people on the panel were talking about. Tobeka mentioned the fact that the department is actually spending 3.7 billion for scholar transport. Do you think it shows? No,
it doesn't show. That's a lot of money. But then, first of all, I'd like to send my condolences to the family and the school as well. But I don't think, with the images I saw, those transport doesn't look like that amount of money was spent on them. And I think if that amount of money was spent, there were going to be adequate transport system, you know, provided for the kids.
And as a young person, I mean, all of us have seen this in one way or another, where we're seeing scholar transports happening in our locations, Kokasi, rural areas, wherever you're coming from. Who do you think should take responsibility when such incidences actually take place? Do you think government is to blame?
I think there are three parties that are held accountable. The parents should always make sure that when the transport fetch their kids, they're there to make sure they're getting the right transport. And even if the transport leaves them, they're gonna know. And the teachers as well should also realize if the kid is absent, communicate with the teacher. Even the transport man should have a relationship with the kids so we can realize which kid is missing, which kid did I miss.
And in terms of education, do you think even young people are educated enough in terms of understanding what is the right standard? So for example, if you are part of a scholar transport where you understand the transporting, do you think young people are educated in knowing at least who to speak to should they have this kind of a problem, or who to turn to if they have that kind of issue?
No, it's not really taken into consideration, because in the locations where I'm from, transport would be filled and you'd hear them saying there's no overload for transport system. So I think if even parents should be concerned about this issue, a seat should be for one child in a transport so that they all have space inside. So, yeah.
And do you think, just maybe as the last question, do you think that, you know, departments like the Department of Education and Department of Transport, who actually is supposed to be working together to ensure that, you know, firstly, young people get to school, but secondly, that young people get to school safely, do you think they only really care about what's going on the ground when something bad happens?
They only make big moves. I think they should also get in touch. They should also visit the school. Sometimes get inside the bus like an unknown inspector, see how things go, see how kids are being treated, and that way those who are behind those buttons, they will see how their money is being used, how the services are.
And I absolutely agree with that. I think that's such an important point to say that a lot of the people who are decision makers when it comes to scholar transport should actually themselves experience the scholar transport that young people are going through right now. So let's find out what you as a young person had to say. Nazim says, I think this is a big no, because rural areas are the last priority in this government, especially in the Eastern Cape. Learners are struggling big time. So definitely not a lot of confidence from Nazim. Utabisile, who obviously wrote something extremely long, says that, you know, from the videos of extreme overloading that were circulating earlier this year, there's a lot that still needs to be done. Now, if I'm saying it properly, says, if necessary steps are taken, I think it will be achievable. But if our government deliver such services without monitoring, which is such an important point that Jacqueline made, and I guess she's basically saying that it's going to be important, that monitoring and evaluation is definitely going to be important. And of course, we definitely love to hear a lot of the comments that are coming to you, at least coming to us as expressions from you, Gochaye. But of course, we want to roll our WhatsApp note. So let's take it here.
Hi Expressions, I am Bumi, commenting on the topic at hand. What has happened is very terrible, but I believe with constant education, we can improve the safety of our children. And also, when you choose a transport for your child, choose people that you are much comfortable with, people that you can trust, people that have qualities of being a parent, people that know how to take care of kids and know how to communicate with kids. Thank you.
Oh, definitely reiterating some of the comments that I think we were sharing around education, safety, and obviously at least the community being involved in making sure that some of these service providers are able to make sure that our kids get to schools, I think, safely. A very big thank you for coming in and talking to us, Jacqueline, around this very important issue. I think it's always important to make sure that young people have their voices heard. That's all we have for you for this particular segment. Thank you so much for watching us. Umqolisi is on the flip side of this. You are watching Expressions. We'll be back.